The room smells faintly of burnt coffee and old paper, like a campaign office that's been awake too long and thinking too hard. Fluorescent lights hum overhead, a thin nervous buzz that somehow matches the pulse in your neck. And there he is, center stage, under the lights, eyes narrowed, jaw set, gripping the podium as if it might drift away without him. Ever seen someone unravel in real time? Watch closely. Because what happens next feels inevitable. Healthcare's simple, he says, waving a hand like he's clearing fog from the air. We've already cut the national rates by. A pause. A blink. A number he can't quite find. Notice that subtle twitch? Do you see it? That tiny hesitation that shouldn't matter, and yet it does. He says a number. A big one. The wrong one. The staff at the edges of the room stiffen like dominoes freezing mid-fall. Someone coughs. Papers shuffle. A phone screen lights up as if in warning. You feel it in your gut, the microdrop, that weird gravitational pull when a plane suddenly dips. Fluorescent lights flicker like a countdown. And that, he says, is why our plan is already saving the country billions. Another wrong phrase. Another misfire. And the room goes too quiet. Here's the thing, silence is never silence in politics. It's pressure. It's a signal. It's everyone calculating at once who heard what, and what it'll cost. And here's where it gets messy. A folder slips from someone's arm and lands on the carpet with a soft, accusing thud. Nobody reaches for it. A microdecision. Tiny. Stupid. You'd think it doesn't matter. But in a room like this, everything matters. Two aides exchange a glance, the kind of glance that says this wasn't in the prep packet. Another leans forward, knuckles white, whispering into a phone. Cross-check the numbers now. No, now. Rumor travels faster through a tense crowd than electricity through a wet wire. You almost see it, the ripple, starting on the left side of the room, skipping from ear to ear, person to person, until it hits the reporters like a spark landing in dry grass. And this, a low voice murmurs behind you, is going to blow up. The air tastes metallic. You swallow, but it doesn't go away. Momentum is fragile. Perception is currency. And he's just spent both without realizing it. If you watch politics long enough, you learn to fear the camera you don't see. There's always one. The backup feed. The side angle. The intern who didn't mute. The mic that wasn't fully off. Tonight, it's the camera tucked behind a pillar, slightly crooked, slightly forgotten, and suddenly very, very important. Its little red light blinks like a pulse. A reminder that the world is always watching, even when it feels like the only things watching are the lights and the ghosts of promises made. One of the aides notices it. He freezes. The blink reflected in his eyes. Ever feel that slow slide in your stomach when you realize something catastrophic has already happened and you're late to the awareness? That's him. Right now. A second too long. A breath too shallow. And momentum punishes hesitation. Trump continues talking, unaware that the room's gravity has changed. He's confident, of course he is. He leans forward, punctuating words with a flat palm on the podium. Doctors love our numbers, he declares. Another misstep. Another micro crack. A reporter tilts her head, fingers hovering over the keyboard. She recognizes the opening like a shark senses a drop of blood miles away. What doctors? Another whispers. Staffers stiffen. Fluorescent lights buzz louder. Or maybe it's just the tension tightening. A beat passes. He keeps going, but the room has begun drifting without him, like the tide pulling back before the wave hits. And here's the twist most people miss. Power is rarely what it seems. It's not volume. It's not presence. It's control of perception, and control just slipped 3 inches to the left, unnoticed. A whisper somewhere behind him. He wasn't supposed to bring up numbers today. A whispered reply. He just wrecked the talking points. Your pulse syncs with the fluorescent hum. It's uncomfortable, but you can't look away. And this is where most people miss the danger. On the surface, everything looks normal. He's still talking. The audience still nods. The cameras still record. But underneath, deep underneath, the ground is shifting like someone's pulling the carpet slowly, inch by inch. A staffer opens an email draft, fingers trembling slightly. The message is simple. We have a problem. But she doesn't send it. Not yet. She hovers, breathing shallowly, scanning the room. Microdecision. Send it, and it becomes real. Don't send it, and she might become the one blamed for waiting too long. She closes the laptop instead. A silent surrender to the moment. Control feels certain. Until reality decides otherwise. A reporter raises a hand. Sir, about the healthcare savings. And the room snaps tight like a wire about to sing. He smiles first. A practiced, polished, confident smile. But then. Just for a microsecond. You see it. A flicker behind the eyes. The recognition that the question is the trapdoor he stepped on earlier. He inhales. Too sharply. Momentum shifts. Someone coughs behind you. A paper crinkles like a dry leaf. Next question, he says. Immediate dodge. Fatal dodge. Silence again. Sharper this time. Aides exchange looks that say we're off script. A camera zooms in. Another reporter raises a hand, already smelling opportunity. And you feel it in your gut. This is where the unraveling begins. Behind the stage, behind the curtain, behind the carefully curated backdrop of civic slogans and polished flags, chaos gathers like storm clouds. A man in a headset murmurs. Do we cut the feed if he goes off again? Someone else. No. Cutting looks worse. Another. He isn't supposed to mention numbers. Why is he mentioning numbers? Tension presses against your chest. The air tastes like static. A binder slams shut somewhere out of view. Footsteps pace quick, tight circles, like animals in a cage with a fire creeping closer. Ambition can be beautiful, until it blinds you. One aide glances at his phone, messages piling up like falling dominoes. He scrolls. Scrolls. Stops. And his voice goes hollow when he says. Fact checkers already posted. He's off by a mile. Fluorescent lights flicker overhead. The hum sharpens. And here's where it gets messy. In politics, leaks rarely happen accidentally. Tonight's is different. An intern, barely 22, wearing a badge that still smells like new laminate, types too fast, heart pounding, forwarding the wrong clip to the wrong channel with the wrong subject line. You guys seeing this? She doesn't notice the recipient list. Not at first. She hits send. And only when the screen blinks does she realize. She's just sent the clip to a reporter. One who's been waiting for a crack like this. Her breath catches. Her skin goes cold. Tiny misstep. Somehow it matters. The clip uploads. The little bar turns green. And the fate of the night shifts with a single click. You feel the drop. A strange vertigo. Like the room has tilted and everyone is trying to pretend it hasn't. On stage, he's still speaking. Still confident. Still gesturing with wide, sweeping motions like a conductor leading an orchestra that's no longer playing. But backstage? The first message hits someone's phone. Then another. And another. Notifications light the dim hallway like sparks in the dark. And someone murmurs, voice tight with dread. Oh God. It's trending. Control feels certain. Until it breaks in your hands. The staffer who never sent her email exhales, slow and shaky. That's it, she whispers. We're done. The hum of light seems louder now, buzzing like a countdown they can't stop. And this, you think, is the moment everything starts to unravel. Because what happens next won't stay in this room. It never does. Not anymore. What you've seen so far. It's only the surface layer, the public cracks. But behind the scenes, deeper fractures are forming in dim hallways, hidden group chats, and doorways left slightly ajar. The next layer reveals the micro-decisions that seal a career. The email someone should have deleted. The call someone should have answered faster. The whisper that reached the wrong ear. And the question you can't shake. Would you act differently if you were in that room? Don't blink. Or you'll miss the unraveling. The hallway outside the briefing room feels colder than it should, too much AC, too little oxygen, the kind of sterile chill that settles into your collar and stays there. The carpet smells faintly of shampoo and panic. Someone closes a door too quickly, and the click echoes like a warning shot. Ever watch power slip through someone's fingers? Keep watching. Because the fall doesn't start with a crash. It starts with a tremor. And what happens next, feels like the tremor before the quake. A senior advisor, gray suit, red tie, adrenaline in his eyes, steps into the hallway, phone pressed tight to his ear. No. I said check the numbers again, he snaps, voice low but strangled. A pause. His jaw works like he's chewing on regret. Match the damn data points. This isn't optional. He hangs up. Immediately redials. Notice that frantic thumb tapping. The shaky inhale. That's the sound of a man trying to duct tape a sinking ship. The fluorescent lights above him buzz louder, like wasps building a nest. A text pops up on his screen, bright, cutting through the hallway shadows. Have you seen the clip? His shoulders slump. Tiny movement. But it says everything. You feel the drop in your stomach again. That same metallic tang on your tongue. And this is where most people miss the danger. 2 floors up, in a press room that still smells of printer ink and stale donuts, the trending feed updates with a satisfying little chirp. Then another. Then a cascade. Phones vibrate across desks like a swarm coming to life. A junior producer leans back in her chair, eyebrows lifting. Oh wow, they're gonna hate this, she murmurs. She plays the clip again. The wrong number. The confident smile. The dodge. Each second slaps harder than the last. The hum of computers fills the air, a synthetic heartbeat sinking across the room. Someone whispers. Is this legit? Another replies. Does it matter? A beat. It's out. Momentum is fragile. Perception is currency. And right now, both are plummeting like elevator cables snapping. A notification on the producer's screen blinks. Source confirmed. And the room sharpens. You can almost hear the collective inhale. This won't stay local. It's going national. Behind the curtains, where the overhead lights dim and the scent of sweat clings to the fabric walls, a cluster of aides huddle. Not talking. Hissing. He wasn't supposed to mention savings, who prepped him? I did not sign off on that section. He freelanced it again. What's the damage? Too early to know. It's never too early. Their whispers overlap like tightening threads. In the shadows, a binder falls open on the floor. Charts scatter like bright, ugly confetti. Someone steps on a page, leaving a faint shoeprint across a graph. Tiny, accidental detail. Yet somehow it matters. Because in moments like this, every detail matters. You feel the weight pressing on your ribs, a kind of pressure politics loves to pretend isn't real. And the paradox whispers. Control feels certain, until it doesn't. On stage, he tries to pivot. "We're working with the best experts," he says, voice booming with rehearsed authority. "They love our plan. Believe me." But the words don't land. Not like they used to. Something in the air has shifted. That imperceptible atmospheric crack when faith evaporates. A camera zooms in too close. Another microphone drifts forward. A reporter straightens in her seat, sensing the opening like a scent trail on fresh snow. "Can you provide the source for that savings figure?" she asks, tone crisp, polite, weaponized. His jaw tightens. "That's not the point." Another reporter interrupts. "Is it accurate?" A third. "Will you issue a correction?" The pressure hits his shoulders, you can see it, a slight sag, quickly masked. But the camera catches everything. Fluorescent lights flicker. Or maybe your pulse does. And here's where it gets messy. He steps off stage. The applause is thin. Half-hearted. Like clapping for a magician after you've seen the strings. Backstage, the temperature feels hotter, human panic radiates more heat than any bulb. The campaign manager approaches him, face tight, voice controlled only by centuries of political instinct. "We need to talk," she says. He waves her off. "Big mistake. Fatal mistake." "Not now," he mutters. She lowers her voice. "It can't wait." He keeps walking. "Sir." The clip is out. That stops him. Mid-stride. Just for a fraction of a second. But in the world of optics, a fraction is an eternity. Notice that tiny pause. That micro-stumble. That's the sound of a narrative starting to slip. He turns, slowly. "Which clip?" She doesn't answer. She doesn't need to. The silence answers for her. Across the country, in diners, bars, break rooms, late-night living rooms, the clip flickers across screens. Muted. Unmuted. Replayed. Slowed down. Captioned. Memed. Someone laughs. Someone frowns. Someone shrugs. But the important part isn't the reactions. It's the volume. The velocity. The speed of spread. Truth moves slow. Narratives sprint. And tonight, the narrative is running barefoot through gasoline. You smell it in the air, burning ozone, static, tension gathering like a storm about to split the sky. And this is where most people miss the danger. It's not the blunder. It's not the number. It's the timing. He slipped at the wrong moment, in the wrong cycle, with the wrong audience listening. The ground under him is starting to slide. In a cramped room lit by too white light, 5 senior staffers gather around a small table. Nobody sits. Everyone stands. A posture that says, "We've got minutes, not hours." Papers spread everywhere, poll projections, damage assessments, messaging drafts. The campaign manager slaps a document down. "We need a correction before midnight." A strategist shakes his head. "No. A correction admits he screwed up. He did screw up. Doesn't matter." Another voice. "If we don't correct it, fact-checkers will carve us alive. And if we do correct it, the base will revolt. And if we wait," the campaign manager cuts in, "we lose control of the narrative entirely." Silence. Thick. Smothering. The fluorescent lights buzz like a nervous heartbeat. Then someone in the corner murmurs a sentence that changes the temperature of the room. Does anyone actually know the real number? No one answers. And you feel it. That cold drop down your spine. Because the paradox is sharp and simple. Power isn't about knowing. It's about pretending you do. And tonight, the pretending is cracking. A communications aide, young, tired, hopeful in a way that stings, steps forward. She holds a flash drive. I have the talking points we were supposed to release after the briefing, she says quietly. Everyone turns to her. She hesitates. Just a second. A small second. A fragile second. Should she hand it over? Should she hold it back? Should she adjust the numbers inside? Should she protect him? Protect the truth. Protect herself. Her thumb taps the plastic casing. A nervous rhythm. A tiny tremor. And she makes a choice. A choice that feels small. Insignificant. She hands the drive to the campaign manager. And just like that, the narrative shifts again. You feel it. Like a subtle tilt. Barely noticeable unless you're looking for it. And here, you tell yourself, is where it gets truly dangerous. Because the story is no longer about a mistake. It's about how people respond to one. And the cliff's edge is getting close. Deeper rooms. Darker hallways. Phones vibrating like alarm bells. The next few minutes will decide whether this becomes a one-night stumble. Or a spiral no one can stop. A draft statement sits on a laptop screen, cursor blinking like a ticking clock. Someone will send it. Someone will leak it. Someone will bury it. 3 choices. 3 outcomes. 3 futures. Which one happens depends on the next micro-decision. The one happening right now. Would you choose clarity, spin, or silence? Don't blink. You'll miss everything. The cursor blinks on the laptop screen like a pulse that's losing rhythm. One blink. Another. A quiet metronome counting down to a decision nobody wants to make. The room is dim, only the blue-white glow of the screen lights the faces hovering around it. The air smells like cold coffee and recycled anxiety. Someone's cologne lingers too strong, sharp enough to sting. Ever see a team try to rewrite reality in real time? Lean in. Because this is where the floor really starts to give. And what happens next feels irreversible. The draft statement reads: Our earlier savings estimate was based on preliminary data. Updated figures will be released shortly. Soft. Safe. Reasonable. But also a confession dressed in polite language. The communications aide who wrote it knows it. The campaign manager knows it. You know it. The sentence sits there like a lit fuse, short, quiet, deadly. A strategist inhales sharply. No. Delete, preliminary. Makes it sound sloppy. Another shakes his head. Keep it vague. If you specify data, they'll ask for sources. A third voice, older, tired, carrying the exhaustion of too many election cycles, murmurs. They'll ask anyway. Notice the tension tightening. The subtle throat clearing. The shuffle of feet that says someone's about to break. And this, you think, is the moment the room fractures. The door opens without a knock. He walks in. Still in the same suit. Still carrying the residue of stage lights on his skin. Still riding that strange cocktail of confidence and denial. He looks at the laptop. At the faces around it. At the half-crafted apology. What is this, he asks. Nobody answers. The hum of the fluorescent light fills the silence, buzzing, vibrating, accusing. He takes a step forward. I'm not releasing that. His voice is calm. Too calm. The stillness before glass shatters. A strategist tries diplomacy. Sir, the numbers are already being. I said I'm not releasing that. The echo hits the walls like a slap. You feel that pressure again, like the air in the room has been vacuum sealed. Someone closes the laptop. A small, submissive gesture. Micro-decision. Micro-defeat. Momentum punishes hesitation. Tonight, it also punishes honesty. He sits. Leans back. Folds his arms. Here's what we're doing, he says. We're doubling down. A few staffers flinch. A few stare blankly. One looks like he might be sick. You'll tell them the savings are even higher, he continues. We'll get our own experts. Friendly ones. They'll say whatever needs saying. Silence. Heavy as concrete. A whisper at the edge of the room. That'll make it worse. He hears it. He always hears it. His eyes narrow slightly. A slow, cold sharpening. Worse for who? He asks. Nobody answers. You can feel your pulse in your fingertips now. The room seems smaller, walls edging inward with every breath. And here's where it gets messy. Because doubling down always feels powerful. Right up until the ground disappears. She's the same communications aide who turned over the flash drive earlier. And now. For the first time tonight. Her expression changes. Not panic. Not fear. Just a quiet, internal click. I know what's right. I know what's wrong. And we're crossing a line. She bites her lip. Turns toward him. Opens her mouth. But before she can speak. Before she can make the micro-decision that could alter the next 10 hours. Her phone buzzes. One vibration. Another. A third. She glances down. And her face drains of color. You feel it, your stomach tightening like a fist. The lights seem dimmer. The hum sharper. Something's happened. What is it? Someone asks. She swallows. Hard. Then, barely above a whisper. It leaked again. This time, it's not the clip. Not the misquote. Not the number. It's the internal prep document. The one with the real numbers. The ones he wasn't supposed to reference. The ones nobody agreed on. The ones that contradict everything he said publicly tonight. Someone murmurs, "Oh God." Another, "Is it out?" Another, "Tell me this is fake." But the aide shakes her head, eyes unfocused. It's everywhere. Across the room, a phone lights up with the headline. Leaked docs, campaign new healthcare claim was false. The walls feel closer now. As if the oxygen itself is tightening in the vents. And this, you think, is the drop no one comes back from. He stands. Slowly. Hands pressed on the table. Shoulders tight. Face flushing red beneath the camera-ready tan. Find out who did it, he says. The words aren't loud. They're quiet, dangerously quiet. A strategist replies carefully. We're trying. Find out. The lights flicker, maybe from old wiring, maybe from tension. Someone accidentally knocks over a cup. Coffee spills across pulling sheets, bleeding into the numbers like dark ink. Another micrometaphor the universe didn't have to deliver so perfectly. And while the room spirals, while voices rise and accusations sharpen, the communications aide looks at her phone again. Her thumb hovers over one unread message. A message from a number without a name. Just one line. We know it wasn't you. But you need to choose a side. You feel that twist in your gut. The kind that whispers. Nothing stays hidden. Not tonight. In the middle of the chaos. The shouting, the pacing, the scrambling. She steps back. One step. Two. Her breath steadies. Her heartbeat slows. Power is rarely what it seems. The loudest voice in the room isn't always the one in control. Sometimes the quietest person holds the match. She opens her laptop. Types something. Fast. Precise. A message. A file. A timestamp. And she sends it. One click. A soft sound. Barely audible. Yet somehow it matters more than everything said tonight. You don't know what she sent yet. Neither does the room. But the tremor running through your spine tells you one thing. This wasn't damage control. This was ignition. The narrative won't survive this. Not intact. And the cliff's edge is here. In the silence that follows, her phone buzzes again. A new message. Short. Chilling. We got it. Step back. What did she send? To whom? What line did she cross, and why? And more importantly, what happens when the truth, the real truth, hits the open air? Would you have stopped her? Or stood beside her? Don't blink. The fallout is about to begin. The air feels heavier now, thick, humid with tension, as if the room itself knows something irreversible just happened. You can taste it. That metallic buzz at the back of your tongue. The instinctive sense that a line has been crossed, though nobody knows which one yet. Ever feel the moment before lightning hits? That tiny breath where the world goes silent. This is that moment. And what happens next, feels explosive. She tries to look calm. The communications aide keeps her expression neutral, eyes low, hands relaxed at her sides. But neutrality is a mask, and masks crack under pressure. A strategist glances at her. Suspicious. Too perceptive. You okay? He asks. She nods. But notice her fingers. Light tremor, barely visible. Notice her throat. A swallow just a fraction too tight. The microtells of someone who just pulled a pin and is waiting to see if the grenade was live. The phone in her pocket vibrates again. She doesn't check it. That would give too much away. And this, you think, is the moment the room should have noticed her. But they don't. They're too busy panicking over the leak they do know about. On the other side of the country, screens glow in dark living rooms like miniature suns. The leaked document spreads. Shares. Retweets. Stitches. Captions. Overlays. Side-by-side comparisons. Someone makes a 12-second clip cutting the misstatement against the internal numbers. It's brutal. It's precise. It hits like a punch. This is why trust is dead, a caption reads. Another user posts. He didn't slip. He lied. A third. I'm done. The algorithm smells blood. It accelerates. Momentum used to be an asset. Tonight, it's a weapon. You can almost hear the hum of millions of tiny digital judgments forming a tidal wave. And the tidal wave is turning back toward the campaign. Back in the briefing room, the campaign manager moves fast. Too fast. Sharp movements, clipped orders, a mind spinning through crisis maps faster than her mouth can speak. Okay, no official statement yet. Push back quietly. Direct reporters to the policy team. We need experts who'll defend the savings figure. Call in the state chairs. Prep them with counter-talking points. And for the love of God, someone find out who leaked the prep doc. Her voice cracks on that last sentence. Just a little. Barely audible. But a crack is a crack. The fluorescent lights flicker again, like the room is reacting emotionally. And here's where it gets messy. When a leader cracks, even for a second, the whole team fractures. A senior advisor steps toward him, the man at the center of the storm. Sir, the advisor says, with respect, we need to correct the record. The longer we delay. No. The reply cuts like glass. The advisor continues, gentler. It will look worse if we don't. I said no. He raises a hand. Not loudly. Not theatrically. Just final. Cold. Unmovable. You think voters care about a number, he says. They care about strength. He taps his chest. Certainty. Confidence. The advisor hesitates. You can see the war in his face. Duty versus fear. Truth versus ambition. You're asking us to defend something we know isn't true, he says. A long, slow beat. Then the reply. You're damn right I am. The hum of the overhead lights feels louder, angrier. Or maybe that's your heartbeat. Power is rarely about truth. It's about dominance. And tonight, dominance is cracking under its own weight. While the argument builds. Voices rising, overlapping, clashing. She steps back toward the corner of the room. The communications aide. The one who sent the message. She opens her laptop again. Not enough to be suspicious. Just a casual tilt. Her eyes scan the file she sent. A file nobody asked her to collect. A file nobody knew she compiled. It's not just the prep document. It's the email chain leading to the wrong number. The internal debate over misreporting. The warnings ignored. The chart showing the real data. The timestamp proving he'd seen it. A miniature archive of responsibility. You feel a shiver. This isn't a slip. This is a detonator. She closes the laptop softly. Too softly. The quiet before the storm. A phone rings across the room. Not a personal device. The official campaign line. The ring is sharp, jarring, almost metallic. Everyone freezes. The campaign manager answers. Hello. A long silence. Then her face shifts. From control. To dread. To something deeper. Something colder. She looks up. It's the network, she says. They want a statement. Tonight. They're going live in 30. The strategist swears under his breath. Another whispers. We aren't ready. She shakes her head. They're running the leaked document in the next segment. If we don't respond, we lose the narrative completely. The advisor turns to him. The man responsible. And says. We need to decide right now what we're saying. The room holds its breath. You hold yours too. Because here's the paradox that stings. Ambition always feels like momentum. Until you realize you're actually falling. He closes his eyes. Just for a moment. A microsecond of humanity breaking through the armor. Then he opens them again. Jaw set. Voice steady. We deny everything. A strategist. They'll fact-check it. Let them. They have the documents. Then say they're fake. The communications aide's stomach twists. She knows they're not fake. She knows exactly where the originals are. Someone mutters. This is insane. He turns to them. Insane wins, he says. Timid loses. A pulse of silence runs through the room. You feel it collect in your chest. A strange pressure, like the moment before a bridge collapses. And this, you think, is the point of no return. The campaign manager takes a breath. Fine, she says. But if we're going to lie. We need a perfect lie. Everyone turns to the communications aide. She didn't plan for that. She didn't want that. But they want her words. The same words she used minutes ago to expose them. Her phone vibrates one more time. A message from the same unknown number. Whatever you do next, make sure you can live with it. Would you help them craft the lie? Walk out. Expose them all. Don't blink. Her decision comes next. The room feels like it's vibrating, not from noise, but from pressure. A kind of emotional static. A hum beneath the floorboards. The sense that everyone is inches from saying or doing something they can't take back. The communications aide stands perfectly still. Too still. As if movement might shatter the delicate, dangerous balance. Ever watch a room turn toward someone all at once? The weight of attention hitting like a spotlight. That's her now. Center of orbit. Center of expectation. Center of a lie she doesn't believe in. And what happens next, feels like a fault line shifting under her feet. You're the one who writes like a human, the campaign manager says, trying to sound encouraging but landing closer to desperate. You can make this sound real. Real. The word hangs in the air like smoke. He steps closer. The man at the center of the scandal. Eyes locked on her. Expectant. Demanding. We need a statement before airtime, he tells her. 30 minutes. No longer. She feels her heartbeat tick against her ribs like a timer. But, she says, cautious, if we deny everything. Not if, he interrupts. When? The strategist nods. We need it sharp, confident, unshakable. Something that reclaims control. Control. A concept that's been evaporating all night, molecule by molecule. And you, he says, are the one who can do it. She swallows. Hard. A reflex that tastes like guilt. And here's where it gets messy. She sits at the small metal table in the corner. The laptop opens with a soft click. The same sound she heard earlier when she sent the file. The cursor blinks at her. A silent metronome. Counting. Demanding. 28 minutes left. The room murmurs behind her. Strategy, panic, whispered orders. But everything feels muffled, distant, as if she's underwater. She types. Tonight's reporting is based on incomplete information. Stops. Deletes. Types again. Earlier figures were taken out of context. Stops. Deletes. Each sentence feels like a stone in her throat. Notice the tension in her shoulders. The way her fingers hesitate above the keys. That's the feeling of conscience hitting the edges of ambition. A light buzz from her phone makes her flinch. She checks it. Another message from the unknown number. Tell the truth. Or tell a lie. But don't pretend you're doing one while meaning the other. Her pulse jumps. And you feel it too. That cold ripple of realization. Someone out there is watching her move for move. A senior advisor steps beside her. What have you got? He asks. She tilts the screen away. A tiny, protective gesture. A micro shield. Nothing yet, she says. We need something. He leans closer, lowering his voice. Look, I know this is complicated. But sometimes we gotta protect the bigger picture. She raises an eyebrow. He continues, softer now. This isn't lying. It's strategic clarity. Strategic clarity. A phrase only politics could invent. People don't understand the details, he adds. They just need reassurance. Strength. Direction. She nods, but something in her expression calcifies. Strength. Direction. Reassurance. Funny how often those words really mean obedience. Behind her, a new wave of panic erupts. The network moved the segment up. They're running it in 10 minutes. We don't even have a draft yet. Call them, try to stall. They won't stall. They hate us right now. Papers rustle. A chair scrapes the floor. A binder snaps shut like a mousetrap. The fluorescent lights flicker again. A nervous heartbeat made of electricity. She breathes in. Air tastes like cold metal. And she begins typing. Not because she believes in the lie. Not because they pressured her. but because writing is the only way forward. 10 minutes. The words come slowly at first, hesitant, fragile. Tonight's media coverage has mischaracterized the nature of our healthcare analysis. She pauses. Her reflection wavers in the laptop screen. She types. The figures referenced earlier were part of an ongoing review, not a finalized report. A strategist leans over her shoulder. That's good, he whispers. More assertive. Less apologetic. She continues. We remain committed to delivering accurate information to the public once the review is complete. Another strategist taps her shoulder. Add something strong, something that hits back. She adds. Any claims suggesting we intentionally misrepresented data are false. The room nods. Relieved. Hopeful. Ignorant. But you see it, don't you? The subtle twist. The double meaning. The thin line between misdirection and truth. Because while the statement protects him, it doesn't actually deny wrongdoing. It merely reframes it. And that's the paradox. A lie that doesn't lie. A truth that isn't true. End with something powerful, the campaign manager says. A closer. The aide's fingers hover. She inhales. You can almost hear her thoughts. Feel her guilt. Taste her resolve. Then she types the last line. We will address the full context soon. Simple. Clean. Ambiguous. Dangerous. The manager leans over her shoulder. That's it, she whispers. That'll hold them off. Hold them off. Not fix it. Not clarify it. Just delay the collapse. 5 minutes. She sends the statement. A soft ping. A sound that feels like sealing a fate. The campaign manager snatches her phone. Push it to the network, she orders. Get it on social in 2 minutes. Everyone scatters. Typing, calling, coordinating. The aide remains seated. Still. Frozen. Her phone buzzes. A new message from the unknown number. We saw your statement. Interesting choice. But this isn't over. Her breath catches. Because there's only one thing worse than telling a lie you don't believe. Being watched by someone who knows exactly why you told it. She closes the laptop. Slowly. Softly. As if shutting a door on something she can't face yet. Across the room, he smiles. Relieved. Confident. Reclaiming control he hasn't actually regained. He thinks the lie saved him. He has no idea what she sent earlier. Or who received it. Or what it means. But you do. Because the truth she released into the world. That small, dangerous file. Is still out there. Growing. Spreading. Waiting. And someone out there is pulling strings with it. Would you warn him? Expose her? Stay silent. The statement hits the networks 5 minutes before the segment airs. 5 minutes isn't enough to change a narrative. But it's enough to muddy one. Enough to stall. Enough to make the truth wobble, but not fall. The newsroom anchors read it with raised eyebrows. A mix of skepticism and professional restraint. The kind of tone that says, we're not buying it, but we'll pretend for now. Back in the campaign war room, the lights seem brighter. Harsher. Almost interrogational. Ever sit in a room where everyone pretends the fire is out? When you can still smell the smoke. Stay with me. Because that smoke is about to thicken. And what happens next, isn't loud. Not yet. But it's devastating. For the first time in hours, the room quiets. Phones stop ringing. Papers stop shuffling. People breathe again, heavy, relieved, exhausted breaths. He leans back in his chair, arms crossed, wearing the look of a man who believes he's won the night. "We stabilized it," he says. "We got ahead of it." The campaign manager nods mechanically. "We did." But notice her eyes. The way they dart toward the aide. Then away. Then back again. Uneasy. Suspicious. She senses something. Something small. Something off. And here's where most people miss the danger. Calm isn't the end of a crisis. It's the false bottom before the real drop. While the room resets itself. Quiet conversations. Urgent whispers. Strategy sketches. The communications aide rises from her seat. Nobody stops her. She moves slowly, deliberately, toward the hallway. Every step feels like walking through deeper water. Heavier. Colder. You feel it too. That same hollow tug in your chest. A sense that the next moments matter more than anyone realizes. She steps into the hallway, door closing softly behind her. The quiet out here is suffocating. She presses her back to the wall. Exhales. A long, shaking breath. Then she opens her phone. One new message. The same unknown number. Good. Phase 1 is done. Her stomach tightens. Phase 1. She types back. Who are you? The reply comes instantly. Not the enemy. Not the friend. Just the witness. A chill slides down her arms. Back inside, the campaign team is trying to reassemble control piece by piece. The networks are running the statement. Online chatters slowing. Fact-checkers haven't updated yet. Maybe we survived this. A strategist lets out a laugh. A brittle one. Frayed around the edges. Yeah, he says. I think we patched the hole. Another mutters. Maybe we even turned it around. But listen closely. Beneath the optimism. Beneath the hope. Beneath the delusion. There's a faint undercurrent of terror. Because deep down, they all know. A patched hole is still a hole. And patched lies leak. Meanwhile, the campaign manager keeps glancing at the hallway. Her instincts have carried her through too many cycles to ignore the pit in her stomach. She turns to the strategist beside her. Where's she? The aide, where did she go? Strategist shrugs. Probably taking a break. Her jaw tightens. No. She shouldn't be away right now. Not with what's happening. She moves toward the door. Steps quick. Heartbeat sharper. Intuition screaming. Politics punishes blind trust. And she's never been the trusting type. The aide stands in the hallway, phone in hand. Her shoulders curve inward. The posture of someone holding too many secrets. Too much truth. Too much guilt. The phone buzzes again. The file you sent will surface soon. Her breath catches. What do you mean, surface? A beat. A pause long enough to raise every hair on her arms. We're not controlling the leak. We're amplifying it. Her pulse stutters. Amplifying. Meaning the truth isn't just out, it's being escalated. She types, frantic. This wasn't the plan. I only sent it so someone would know what was actually happening. The reply interrupts her. Intent doesn't matter anymore. Trajectory does. She stares at the words. At the cold certainty in them. And in that second, she understands. She started something she can't pull back. The hallway door creaks open. The campaign manager steps out. Calm expression. Cold eyes. You okay? She asks softly. The aide jolts, stuffing the phone into her pocket. Why yeah. Just needed a minute. The manager nods. Too slowly. Too controlled. Funny, she murmurs. A lot of things tonight feel just a little off. A beat. A silence so sharp it trembles. The aide's throat tightens. She forces a tiny smile. Long day. That's all. The manager steps closer. Too close. Tell me, she says, voice low, you didn't send anything you shouldn't have, did you? A question sharpened into a blade. The aide's pulse spikes. Her mouth goes dry. But her voice, when it leaves her, stays steady. No. The lie hits the air like a dropped match. The manager watches her, searching her face for a crack. A flinch. A tell. And she doesn't find one. Not yet. As the manager turns back toward the meeting room, satisfied for now. The aide's phone buzzes again. She waits until the footsteps fade. Then she checks it. Phase 2 begins tonight. Her breath stops. Her vision blurs around the edges. Phase 2. Phase 2 of what? She types with shaking hands. Stop. Please. Just stop. The reply comes like a knife wrapped in silk. It's too late to stop. But not too late to choose. Choose. The word hits her like a shove. Choose what? Choose who? Choose how deep she's willing to go. You feel the drop. That sensation like the world is tilting slightly. Pulling everything toward an edge you didn't know was there. And the edge is getting closer. She turns off her phone. Presses her back to the wall. And for the first time tonight, she realizes. The lies she wrote to save them. And the truth she leaked to expose them. Are on a collision course. One she can't control. One someone else is steering. And the question hits her like a cold wave. Which version of the story will survive the night? And which version will destroy her? Would you warn the campaign? Stay quiet. Or let the truth run wild. The hallway feels colder when she steps back inside the war room. As if the room itself knows something she doesn't want to admit. As if the walls can sense a fracture forming. Everyone looks up when she enters. Not suspiciously. Just collectively exhausted. Drained. Relieved. The kind of relief that comes too early. Ever watch people celebrate right before the floor gives way? Stay with me. Because the fall begins quietly. It always does. A TV on the far wall plays the live network feed. Volume low, captions ticking like marching orders. Breaking, new documents suggest internal conflict over healthcare data. Not leaked. Not alleged. Not rumored. Documents. Plural. Her stomach drops so sharply it feels like gravity betrayed her. The screen cuts to a commentator mid-sentence. And what's particularly interesting here is the timestamp. It suggests someone inside the campaign had concerns hours before the official statement. Her pulse slams against her ribs. Hours before. That's her. That's the file. That's the truth she sent. But how did the network already? A strategist grabs the remote, turning up the volume. The commentator continues. More documents expected to surface shortly. This appears to be part of an escalating internal dispute. Internal dispute. They're guessing. Speculating. Making connections they think exist. But they don't realize. Not yet. How close they already are. What documents? Who leaked anything? This wasn't part of the segment. They changed the rundown, why didn't they tell us? Get someone on the phone with the producer, now. The tension snaps back like an overstretched rubber band. The campaign manager freezes mid-step. Her eyes narrow. There it is. The suspicion returning. Sharper. Heavier. She scans the room. But not for the enemy. For the traitor. And here's where it gets messy. Everyone is innocent. But no one looks innocent. Everyone is guilty. But only one person actually is. And she can feel the spotlight drifting toward her. Like heat. Like gravity. Like inevitability. He storms toward the TV, jaw clenched, voice cracking like thunder. What documents? What leak? What is this? No one answers. Silence blooms like a bruise. He spins toward the manager. Did we authorize anything? Tell me we didn't authorize anything. We didn't, she says carefully. He steps closer. Too close. Then someone's doing this on purpose. The room stiffens. He turns, slowly, suspiciously, studying faces. Measuring loyalty. Searching for betrayal. And then his gaze lands on her. Just for a second. But she feels it like fire on her skin. The commentator leans forward on screen, voice grave. We've just received confirmation that the initial document contains unedited internal notes questioning the accuracy of earlier healthcare figures. Her vision tunnels. Unedited internal notes. That's exactly what she sent. Word for word. Line for line. How did they get it so fast? As if answering her, the commentator continues. And sources tell us more internal communications from a senior aide are expected to break within the hour. Senior aide. Her breath stops. That's not her. She's junior. She's not senior anything. Which means someone else's messages are being leaked too. Someone else is feeding the fire. She's not alone in this. She's not the only one leaking. And that realization hits like a punch. The manager's phone vibrates. She glances at it. Freezes. Her face drains. Because whatever she just saw. It wasn't good. It wasn't expected. And it wasn't under her control. She snaps her head toward the team. Everyone. Phones on the table. Now. A command. A test. A trap. Phones slam onto the table one by one. Except hers. Her hand stays in her pocket. Thumb pressed so hard against the phone it feels like bone. Yours too, the manager says. The room goes silent. Everyone turns. Every eye on her. She pulls her hand out slowly. Like a magician revealing a dangerous trick. The phone is trembling in her grip. Or maybe that's just her. She places it on the table. Screen up. A message still visible. Phase 2 begins tonight. And the world goes still. Not quiet. Not calm. Still. The kind of stillness before a building collapses. A message from an unknown sender. A phrase that sounds like coordination. A phrase that sounds like conspiracy. Phase 2. They don't know what it means. But they know what it implies. An implication. In a room like this. Is lethal. The strategist whispers. Is she working with someone? Another. Is this coordinated? Another. Is this sabotage? She tries to speak. But no sound comes out. Because the truth is worse than the suspicion. She did leak. But she didn't do any of this. Someone else is orchestrating it. Amplifying it. Feeding the machine she accidentally built. And she has no idea who. He moves slowly. Measured. Controlled. The way a person moves towards something dangerous. But fascinating. His voice drops. You want to tell us what phase 2 means? Her mouth opens. Closes. Opens again. It's not. I didn't. It's not what you think. Then what is it? She hesitates. And hesitation. In this room. Is guilt. He leans closer. You leaked something, didn't you? Her chest constricts. Her vision prickles with heat. Behind him, the TV blares with fresh urgency. More documents have been verified. Verified. Meaning authenticated. Meaning indisputable. Meaning deadly. She whispers, barely audible. I never meant for this to happen. The whole room hears it. And the sentence falls. Like a guillotine. Her phone buzzes again. Loud in the silence. Inescapable. A new message flashes across the screen. Phase 2 begins now. She stares. Frozen. The manager stares. Terrified. He stares. Betrayed. And the question detonates in the air. If this is phase 2, what's phase 3? You ready? The message glows on her phone like a burning fuse. Phase 2 begins now. Not tomorrow. Not later. Now. The air shifts. Subtle at first, then unmistakable. A tightening. A pull. As if the room itself just inhaled sharply and forgot how to breathe out. Ever feel a moment tip? The exact second when control stops being an illusion. And becomes a memory. Stay close. Because the ground is about to move. He clears his throat. But the sound cracks. Too brittle. Too exposed. You need to explain what's going on, he says. Not a question. Not a plea. A command. She opens her mouth. But a strategist jumps in first. She's obviously coordinating with someone. Look at the message. Phase 2. That's not random. Another strategist steps forward. And that first leak. That wasn't an accident. That was deliberate. It wasn't, she tries again. Then what was it, he snaps. Because it sure as hell looks deliberate. Her heartbeat thunders in her ears. Every pulse echoes like a fist on a locked door. The manager steps between them. Everyone needs to slow down. But her voice is shaking, just enough to betray something dangerous. Fear. A fresh headline slashes across the screen. New leaks reveal internal mistrust between senior campaign members. The room erupts. Mistrust? How do they know that? Who's talking to them? This is coordinated, inside and out. A new commentator appears on the screen. We've just confirmed that the internal notes match additional messages from another campaign source, suggesting conflict over whether to release or suppress healthcare data earlier today. The aide goes still. Another source. Another source. So she's not the only one leaking. Not the only one being targeted. Not the only one being played. Her stomach drops. Phase 2 isn't about her. It's about chaos. And now it's working. The manager's breath hitches. Barely noticeable. Unless you're watching her closely. But you are. And you see her internal gears snap into motion. Conflict. Internal. Multiple leaks. She understands instantly. Someone is constructing a narrative from both ends. What if, she whispers, this is designed to frame us against each other? A strategist scoffs. At the perfect moment. During coverage. With timestamps that match internal logs. No. Someone inside is feeding this. She turns to the aide. You need to tell us everything. The aide shakes her head hard. I don't know what phase 2 is. I don't know who this person is. I didn't plan any of this. The manager studies her face. Eyes sharp. Mind sharper. And yet. Something in her expression softens. Because the manager knows something the others don't. Guilt looks different from panic. And this is panic. He steps forward again. The room shifts with him. Orbiting. Tilting. Collapsing inward. You leaked something, he says. You admitted it. I didn't admit. You said you didn't mean for this to happen. Her breath catches. A fatal misstep. He jabs a finger toward the phone. And now you're getting messages from whoever's orchestrating this. She shakes her head. It's not like that. Then what is it like? The shout slams into the room. A physical force. A breaking point. Everyone freezes. Even the lights seem to hold still. A new sound enters. Ping. Her phone. Again. A message preview pops up. Only a few words visible. They're turning on each O. She snatches the phone off the table, but it's too late. Everyone saw it. Everyone. The strategist closest to her whispers. Oh God. She's in communication with them in real time. No, she insists. You're misunderstanding. He slams his hand on the table. Then explain it. Her throat closes. No words come out. Because how do you explain something that makes no sense even to you? How do you explain a trap you didn't know you walked into? How do you explain fear that feels prescripted? The manager holds up a hand. Enough, she says. Quiet. Controlled. Her authority slices through the noise like a clean blade. Everyone step back. Give her space. But space isn't what the aide needs. She needs answers. Options. A way to reverse whatever just started. The manager steps close enough for only her to hear. Her voice soft, almost kind. What did you send? Tears sting the aide's eyes. A draft. Notes. My concerns. That's all. Why? Because it felt wrong. What we were doing. The numbers. The statement. All of it. I thought someone should know. The manager doesn't flinch. She just inhales, slow and steady. You thought the truth would fix things. A pause. A long, heavy pause. It never fixes things. The TV screen flickers. A new alert appears. The room collectively stops breathing. Chat logs. Plural. Authentic. Live. A strategist whispers, voice hollow. This is catastrophic. The manager's eyes widen. Oh my God. He turns slowly. Face drained. Rage simmering. Fear cracking through. And he looks at her. Right at her. As the TV announces. Leaked internal messages appear to show multiple staffers raising concerns about data manipulation, hours before tonight's denial. Hours before. Exactly the window of her original leak. And the room knows it. Not the full truth. But enough of it to turn. Enough to collapse. Enough to destroy. Her phone buzzes again. She doesn't move. Everyone watches. No one breathes. The message appears. Phase 3 begins when the room chooses someone to blame. She looks up. And the room has already chosen. The words hang in the air like shrapnel. Phase 3 begins when the room chooses someone to blame. Every eye darts toward her. Every breath stops. Every heartbeat becomes a drum of accusation. The fluorescent lights hum with tension. Buzzing louder now, like a countdown. The metallic tang of panic cuts through the stale air. And she feels it deep in her gut. This is it. The moment the room decides who falls first. Ever watch someone become a scapegoat in real time? It's not instant. It creeps in. Silent. Like poison spreading through the veins of trust. He points. Direct. Unflinching. This is your fault. You sent the messages. You leaked the files. The room holds its collective breath. Even the campaign manager steps back. Surprise etched on her face. A pause that stretches like a wire under tension. She shakes her head. No. A strategist cuts her off. It doesn't matter what she meant. Look at the timeline. Who else could have done it? Who else had access? It points to her. Whispers ripple across the room. A wave of suspicion. Finger pointing. Eyes darting. Every glance is a small accusation. Her chest tightens. The walls close in. The air tastes metallic. Her phone buzzes again. It's working. The message is calm. Detached. A taunt in a medium of light and sound. She can feel it. Phase 3 isn't just about exposure. Phase 3 is about control. And someone else is controlling it. The manager steps forward, slow, deliberate. Every eye shifts. Every voice halts. Her authority is a blade of cold steel. Enough, she commands. Focus. Not blame. Focus. The room hesitates. Tension tangles like a knot too tight to untangle. She leans close to the aide. Her voice low, almost a whisper. They're setting you up. A shiver runs down her spine. The words echo in the room, unheard by others, but heavy, palpable, like a warning. And she realizes. She isn't the only target. No one is safe. Everyone is part of the game. A senior strategist slams a hand on the table. Voice booming, angry, desperate. This is insane. How can we stop it? Who's doing this? No one answers. No one knows. And yet the room itself seems to breathe differently. Faster, heavier, more uncertain. The TV plays another alert. Additional internal communications confirmed. Multiple staffers implicated in healthcare memo leaks. Eyes dart to one another. Hands tighten on phones. Chairs scrape against the floor. And every micro-decision, from standing too close to fumbling a phone, becomes a loaded trigger. Even she notices. The folder she dropped earlier, the one no one picked up. The pause she took before sending her initial draft. Every tiny action magnified in the glare of suspicion. And the paradox burns. The more she tries to clarify, the faster the chaos spreads. Voices rise, overlapping. Blame ricochets off the walls. Paper rustles like leaves in a storm. Footsteps pound across the tile. Phones ring endlessly, ignored, abandoned, discarded. Her gaze meets his. The man at the center of the scandal. Eyes wide. Jaw tight. Power slipping through his fingers like sand. And she feels it too. Every misstep, every pause, every whispered secret has led to this moment. And it's beautiful. Terrifying. Inevitable. She doesn't reach for it. She doesn't want to. But she can't ignore it. Phase 3 is complete. The first will fall tonight. Her stomach drops. The words pierce like glass. And in that instant, the room tilts. Uncertain, fragile, on the edge of collapse. A scream, somewhere, someone. Or maybe just her imagination. Cuts through the tension. It's not just the documents anymore. It's not just the leaks. It's trust unraveling. Loyalties dissolving. Power imploding from within. The room waits. She waits. He waits. And then the first accusation lands. Sharp. Irrevocable. A mark in time. Her pulse hammers. Lights flicker. The air tastes metallic. And the first domino falls. Who will it be? Who takes the fall? Who survives the shockwave? The accusation cuts the room like a knife. Direct. Merciless. Irreversible. Her name is spoken. Every eye turns toward her. Every breath freezes. The room tilts, fragile and trembling. She feels the weight of all of it. The leaks, the drafts, the messages, the silence, the lies. Every microdecision that brought her here presses into her chest like a fist. The fluorescent lights hum louder. Buzzing. Like a countdown she didn't sign up for. Phones fly open. Hands shake. The strategist nearest to her points a trembling finger. See? It's her. It's always been her. Others nod. Some whisper. Some laugh nervously. The laugh of people trying to convince themselves it's not real. The campaign manager steps between them. Stop, she commands. Her voice is low, dangerous, precise. But even she knows the truth. The room is already fracturing. Trust has evaporated. Power is slipping, fast. She swallows hard. Words taste like metal in her mouth. I didn't. But every attempt to explain is drowned out by the chaos around her. The first domino has fallen. And the sound echoes. Momentum punishes hesitation. A microdecision she made hours ago, leaving that file unsent for a brief pause. Every tiny action magnified in the spotlight. Now seems catastrophic. The paradox is clear. The more she tries to steer, the faster control evaporates. The manager pulls her aside. Whispers. Listen. Nobody knows who the real orchestrator is. But they're using you. You're a pawn, maybe the most important one. Her pulse races. Air tastes metallic. Heartbeat thunders. A pawn? She asks, voice shaking. Yes, the manager says. But pawns can survive. Pawns can move. It depends on the next choice. The words hang heavy. A decision looms. On the TV, the commentator cuts through the tension. Further leaks suggest internal campaign discord. Names are circulating, and multiple aides may face exposure. Sources confirm documents were authentic and distributed strategically. The words land like hammer blows. Everyone stiffens. The room feels smaller. Edges sharper. Every microdecision, every glance, every paused phone, every whispered conversation, has become part of the narrative. And the narrative is running wild, unstoppable. Phase 3 is not about her mistake. It's about perception. It's about fear. It's about control. And she's not the only one being manipulated. Her own pulse becomes a metronome of dread. Her eyes scan the room. The managers, the strategists, the aides, the phones, the flickering screens. She sees it now. The moment truth and chaos collide. And she is standing in the epicenter. The strategist who accused her first freezes. A text buzzes. He reads it. His face drains of color. Wait, what? He whispers. The leak, it's not her, another strategist mutters. Who sent this? The room tilts again. Eyes shifting, suspicion ricocheting unpredictably. The dominoes start to topple, but not in the way anyone expected. The real orchestrator remains hidden. And the fallout has just begun. She exhales slowly. Her phone buzzes again. Phase 4 begins when they realize who is truly behind it. And just like that, the room goes still. Everyone knows there's another layer. Another trap. Another shockwave waiting. The tension is so thick it presses against your chest. And you can feel it. The collapse isn't over. It's accelerating. The question hangs, unavoidable. Who will survive the storm? Who will be crushed under the weight of perception, truth, and manipulation? The room feels like it's breathing, but it's not alive. It's tense. Charged. A living trap. Phones buzz endlessly. Screens flicker with new alerts. Every whisper ricochets like a bullet. Her hands shake. Her stomach tightens. Every microdecision she made over the past 24 hours, every pause, every glance, every sent or unsent file, converges here. The truth is coming. And it refuses to wait. A journalist's voice cuts through the room from the TV. Sources inside the campaign say leaked communications are more complex than initially reported. Multiple staffers involved, intent unclear. Investigation underway. Everyone freezes. Eyes dart. Hands hover over phones. She feels it, the tide turning. Not in her favor. Not in anyone's. But the first crack of reality has begun to show. The campaign manager's gaze narrows. Her mind works like a blade. She realizes something crucial. The chaos isn't random. The leaks weren't accidents. The orchestrator is inside. She leans toward the aide. Whispers. Listen carefully. Whoever is behind this is manipulating both sides. And we're their stage. We need to expose them before Phase 4. The aide swallows. Her throat dry. Her pulse racing. She nods. The manager's eyes flick to the TV. Every microdecision in the next minutes will be critical. The unknown sender texts again. Phase 4 begins when suspicion reaches its peak. Watch them crumble. Her phone buzzes. She doesn't touch it. The room watches her. The manager watches her. He, at the center, watches her. But she doesn't move. She lets it sit. The tension builds. Every eye in the room begins to crack under the weight. Because momentum punishes hesitation. And she's holding the throttle. The TV cuts to a breaking segment. Investigators confirm that the initial healthcare data leak originated from a senior aide, but a series of automated forwards and unsent drafts spread confusion about the origin. Gasps. Whispers. A flurry of movement. All eyes turn to the manager. She steps forward. Her voice calm, sharp, deliberate. It wasn't her. It wasn't her fault. It's been manipulated. The aide exhales. The weight of blame lifting slightly. But replaced immediately with fear. Because the real threat is still out there. Somewhere. Watching. Waiting. Phones ring endlessly. Papers shuffle frantically. Emails remain unsent. The strategist who accused her first looks pale, sweating. You mean, we've all been played? Yes, the manager says. Her eyes sweep the room. And we are still in it. The paradox is crystal clear. The more the truth breaks through, the more fragile control becomes. The room teeters on collapse. The lights flicker. Every whisper, every glance, every small action is magnified. And Phase 4 is coming. Her phone vibrates. The message reads. Phase 4 begins in 3, 2, 1. She freezes. The room freezes. Even the air seems suspended, waiting for impact. And you know, right here. Phase 4 will change everything. Nothing will be the same. And some will never recover. The storm is about to hit. The room holds its breath. A suspended silence that presses against the chest, thick and metallic. Her phone vibrates again, 3, 2, 1, and the countdown ends. Phase 4 begins. The first explosion is subtle. A text message sent in the wrong group chat. A whisper caught on a hot mic. A document forwarded automatically to the wrong inbox. Momentum punishes hesitation. And now, the machine she never fully understood roars to life. He, at the center of power, slams his fist on the table. Who did this? The words bounce off walls, ricocheting like bullets. Phones buzz. Screens flicker. Emails ding with urgency. The strategist closest to him stumbles back. Paper flies. The hum of fluorescent lights rises to a frenzy. Everyone feels the tension physically. Heartbeats race. Palms sweat. The metallic tang in the air thickens. And everywhere she looks, she sees suspicion. A dozen micro-decisions, each amplified, each weaponized. A quiet voice, almost imperceptible, cuts through the cacophony. Check the server logs. The room freezes. All attention pivots. The manager steps forward. They dig through the data. Line by line. Timestamp by timestamp. And there it is. The orchestrator. Not her. Not the aide. Someone else entirely, someone who has been manipulating every leak, every misstep, every reaction. The revelation lands like a hammer. They were never the problem. They were the bait. The first accusations rebound off the walls, misdirected, furious. Was it you? No, it was you. I saw the message. Check your drafts. The room fractures. Trust collapses. Control evaporates. Even he, at the center, feels it. Power isn't what it seemed. Perception is currency, and it's bankrupt. The aide stares at her phone, shaking. The manager's mind races, calculating the next moves. The orchestrator watches silently, unseen. Phase 4 doesn't just reveal the truth. Phase 4 detonates it. Every micro-decision compounds. A paused email. A whispered rumor. A glance that lingered too long. Every detail, previously inconsequential, now fatal. Even standing too close, breathing too loud, tapping a pen, it all becomes evidence. And the room realizes it, no one is safe. The paradox burns brighter. The more they try to fix it, the faster it unravels. The more they fight, the deeper the collapse. She steps back, chest tight, eyes wide. It's all a game, she whispers. Phase 4, it's not about us. It's about control. Watching us destroy ourselves. The manager nods. Slowly. Grimly. Yes. And every step we take now, every micro-decision, will either save us, or break us completely. The orchestrator's final message appears on her phone. Phase 5 begins when the first domino screams. The room doesn't know what it means. The aide doesn't know what it means. Even he doesn't know. But the fear, palpable, is universal. The tension, unbearable. The collapse, inevitable. And right here, right now. The storm is about to reach its peak. Phase 5 is coming. The room is a powder keg. Air thick, metallic, vibrating with tension. Every heartbeat pounds like a war drum. Fluorescent lights flicker overhead, a stuttering countdown. Phase 5 begins. No warning. No mercy. Her phone buzzes again. The message reads simply. Domino 1 screams now. And the first scream isn't literal. It's the room itself. Shattering trust. Shattering perception. Shattering momentum. He points, voice cracking. This is your fault. Chaos erupts. The aides shout. Phones ring non-stop. Papers scatter like leaves in a hurricane. The strategist who accused her first falls silent, eyes wide, staring at a screen. Because the truth is revealed in fragments. Every microdecision she made, the pause, the unsent draft, the glance at the wrong time, has been weaponized. And suddenly, the narrative isn't hers anymore. It's theirs. The orchestrator's. A senior aide stumbles back, whispering. Check the server logs. They've been manipulated. Look at the timestamps, every message altered, every draft forwarded, every hesitation amplified. The manager's eyes narrow. She understands, the real orchestrator has been playing the room like a violin. Every accusation, every panic, every flash of suspicion choreographed. Phase 5 isn't about exposing them, it's about watching everyone destroy themselves while thinking they're in control. Phones buzz, emails pile up unsent, whispers ricochet off the walls. The fluorescent lights flicker faster. The metallic tang of panic fills the air. Hands tremble. Feet shuffle. Breaths come too fast. The aide realizes the paradox. The more she tries to explain, the faster the chaos spreads. Every microdecision compounds. Every glance, every hesitation, every misstep now matters. And the room tilts further. Towards collapse. The manager steps forward, voice low but cutting through the chaos. Stop. A silence falls, not peace, but anticipation. Everyone's pulse races. Even he, the man at the center of power, stares at her, caught between rage and fear. She leans close to the aide. They're watching. They've set this up so we fight among ourselves. You have to think 3 steps ahead, always. The aide swallows, heart pounding, sweat beading her forehead. Phase 5 is a storm. Phase 5 doesn't forgive. Phase 5 doesn't wait. A text appears on her phone. Choose wisely. Every move is amplified. She hesitates. The room watches. The strategist across from her shuffles papers nervously. The man at the center glares. The manager studies her, calculating every possible outcome. She understands now. Even in chaos, even under scrutiny, even when perception is deadly, microdecisions can shift the outcome. But the stakes are apocalyptic. A single wrong move, and the room collapses completely. Another ping. Another message. Phase 5 apex, who survives when the dominoes scream? And right there, right now. The tension crushes the air. The room is suspended, teetering between ruin and revelation. And the storm, unseen, unstoppable, prepares to strike. The room quivers like a held breath. Every glance, every shuffling foot, every whispered word feels magnified 1,000 times. Phase 5 is in full swing. Dominoes hang in midair, trembling, ready to fall. Her phone buzzes again, this time, no countdown. Only one word. Decide. The weight of it presses against her chest. Not just her choice. But the entire room, every microdecision everyone has made, hangs on this moment. The manager steps forward, voice steady, piercing. Enough. We take control or we fall. No one acts without a plan. No more panicking. Eyes scan the room. Some nod, relief washing over. Some freeze, paralyzed. The aide exhales. For the first time, clarity pierces the chaos. She realizes. Survival isn't about exposing the orchestrator. It's about controlling what they can control. Microdecisions now dictate the outcome. A strategist quietly whispers to another. Check the timestamps. The real manipulator made a mistake here. Small, but noticeable. Eyes widen. The apex begins to tilt. Even the man at the center senses it, control isn't slipping away, yet. The TV flickers. The commentator reports. Internal review identifies inconsistencies in the leaked communications. Analysts suggest selective forwarding and automated messages may have skewed initial perception. Gasps. Whispers. Sudden understanding spreads. The orchestrator's careful game, the chain reaction of panic, is showing cracks. Microdecisions made under pressure are now revealing the truth. The dominoes, once suspended, begin to stabilize. The aide speaks clearly, deliberately. I know what to do. Step back. Stop reacting. Consolidate information. Present facts without emotion. The manager nods approvingly. Yes. Facts over panic. Control over chaos. Phones stop buzzing frantically. Paper stops flying. Breaths slow slightly. The room tilts, but now, instead of collapsing, it begins to right itself. Momentum shifts from destruction to survival. Every small move now counts. Pausing before sending a reply. Choosing words carefully in whispers. Checking timestamps twice. Strategic silence. These microdecisions, subtle, precise, deliberate, start to reverse the apex of chaos. The strategist who panicked first now steps forward, pointing at the anomaly in the logs. It's here. The orchestrator left a trace. Small, but undeniable. Eyes widen. The apex resolves. The room exhales collectively, relief and tension intertwined. Her phone vibrates one last time. The message reads. Phase 6 begins, the reckoning. And just like that, the storm isn't over. The apex has passed, but the next wave looms. And the question lingers. Who will endure the reckoning? Who will crumble under the weight of what's left? Phase 6 promises revelation. Phase 6 promises consequences. And some choices cannot be undone. The room is quiet now. Tension has settled into a charged stillness. Every breath feels heavy. Every heartbeat echoes in the silence. Phase 6 begins. Not with a bang, but with an unavoidable truth. The reckoning. Her phone vibrates. The screen glows. Everything you know is about to be revealed. And in that instant, she feels it. Not fear. Not panic. But a cold, precise clarity. The manager steps forward, voice low, but authoritative. We know who's behind this. All eyes snap to her. Even the man at the center, power cracking around the edges, leans in. She gestures to the server logs on the screen. Timestamp by timestamp. Forwarded emails. Drafts never sent. Messages deleted and resurrected. The leaks were engineered, she continues. Every microdecision manipulated. Every pause, every glance, every email used to create chaos. Whispers ripple. The room absorbs it. Everyone sees the invisible hand for the first time. The aide's pulse quickens. She scans the room. The strategist, the managers, even the man at the center, each has been complicit in the perception of chaos. The paradox burns bright. The more they tried to control, the faster the orchestrator's narrative grew. The more they panicked, the stronger the manipulator's position became. And now the truth is here. Unavoidable. Exposing it may save them, or destroy them. Every action now matters. Who speaks first? Who stays silent? Who moves toward evidence, who away? The aide whispers, almost to herself. If we handle this carefully, if we coordinate, we can contain it. The manager nods. Yes. Facts. Precision. Calm. One step at a time. A single strategist steps forward, pointing at the manipulated logs. Look here. The first automated forward, the one that triggered everything, was timestamped during the aide's initial review. But look closer, someone else engineered it. Gasps. The room shifts. Momentum changes. Control, once lost, begins to reassert itself. The man at the center realizes the fragility of power. It was never control, it was perception. And perception can be shattered. The aide exhales slowly. Her hands tremble slightly, but she moves with deliberate care. She sends a carefully worded clarification to the team. Small, precise. The chain reaction reverses. The apex of chaos begins to crumble. Phase 6 has begun, and with it, the reckoning sweeps through the room like a cold, cleansing wind. Her phone buzzes one final time, a message glowing ominously. The reckoning is only the beginning. Phase 7 awaits. The room stands still, knowing the storm isn't over. Some truths are revealed, but some shadows remain. And the real consequences, personal, professional, irreversible, are about to hit. Phase 7 promises the ultimate fallout. The air is thick, heavy, almost tangible. Every breath feels like inhaling tension itself. Phase 7 begins, not quietly, not subtly, but as a storm unleashed. The reckoning has passed, but consequences ripple outward like shockwaves. Her phone vibrates. She doesn't need to look. She already knows. The fallout begins now. The strategist who panicked first looks at his hands, trembling. Paper clutched too tightly, emails unsent, whispers overheard, every microdecision now magnified into catastrophe. The man at the center, the one who believed he controlled everything, feels the walls closing in. The metallic tang of fear fills the room. Fluorescent lights hum like a countdown to judgment. Whispers become accusations. Accusations become confrontations. The room fractures into alliances and betrayals. Every small choice now determines survival. A pause before speaking. A glance at the wrong time. Which email to forward, which to hold. The aide steps forward, voice steady, deliberate. We control what we can. Carefully. Calmly. Precisely. Her words cut through the panic like a knife. Eyes turn to her. Some follow her lead. Some resist, stubborn and fearful. The paradox of Phase 7 is clear. The more the room reacts, the faster collapse accelerates. The more some act with precision, the more they survive. The orchestrator, unseen, yet ever present, watches as chaos becomes clarity. Every lie exposed, every manipulation traced, every misstep recorded. A message appears on her phone. Survivors will be few. Every action counts. And she realizes, the storm wasn't just about exposing mistakes, it was about testing endurance. Testing microdecisions under pressure. Testing who can navigate the collapse without crumbling entirely. The manager asserts control with calm authority. Check the logs. Confirm facts. Communicate clearly. Focus. Every microdecision now is decisive. The strategist who panicked first nods, slowly regaining composure. The man at the center hesitates, then steps back. The aide feels the first spark of control, the first thread of leverage she can wield. Even as the fallout spreads externally, media alerts, internal emails, external rumors, the room begins to stabilize. The consequences are deeply personal. Some faces pale. Some shoulders slump. Some take a deep, shuddering breath. Even minor missteps, emails sent a second too late, a glance in the wrong direction, a whispered rumor, carry heavy weight. Phase 7 makes them accountable for every microdecision, every reaction, every hesitation. She realizes, survival isn't about being perfect. It's about seeing the chaos, understanding it, and moving deliberately. Her phone buzzes one last time. The message is short, final, chilling. Phase 8, legacy will be written. The room stands still. Everyone knows, what happens next will define them forever. Not just their careers. Not just their reputations. But the narrative, the history, the memory of everything that unfolded. Phase 8 is coming. And it will not forgive. The storm has passed, but the air is electric, charged with aftermath. Every heartbeat feels like a drum marking consequences. Phase 8 begins. Not with chaos, this is the reckoning of legacy. The final score. The memory that will remain long after the lights go out. Her phone buzzes. The message reads. History is watching. Every move now is permanent. The room is quiet, almost painfully so. Every gaze sharp, every posture taut. No one speaks without consideration. Even breathing feels deliberate. The aide scans the faces around her. The manager, calm, calculating. The strategist, humbled, cautious. The man at the center, once arrogant, now cautious, uncertain. Each microdecision from earlier phases now weighs like stone. Who spoke too soon? Who paused too long? Who sent the wrong message? Legacy isn't about control. It's about memory, perception, and consequence. Though unseen, the orchestrator leaves one final mark. A carefully crafted leak, time-stamped and selective, lands across the media. Every previous step now framed in narrative. A single microdecision, the aide's careful pause, the manager's calm directive, become central to the story. Fluorescent lights flicker above, buzzing like a heartbeat. Air tastes metallic. Every whisper in the room is heavy with implication. The paradox of legacy is revealed. The more they attempted to control the story, the more their true character was exposed. The more precise the microdecisions, the more the narrative bends in their favor, or against them. The manager looks around the room, voice low. History doesn't forgive hesitation. It doesn't reward panic. It remembers the decisive, the careful, and the resilient. The aide exhales, pulse steadying. She realizes, survival alone isn't enough. How they are perceived, how their actions are recorded and remembered, is everything. Even the man at the center nods silently, understanding the weight of perception. Every subtle choice now matters more than ever. Which message to send publicly? Which internal note to release? Which acknowledgement of error to make, and which silence to maintain? Small moves, precise, deliberate, become history. Every glance, every hesitation, every whisper recorded in memory, in media, in perception. And the room feels it, the apex of consequences has shifted from chaos to permanence. Her phone buzzes one final time, a cold, sharp vibration. The message reads. Legacy is written. But whose story will endure? The room holds its breath. Every microdecision, every action, every reaction now crystallized into memory. Phase 8 has begun, and it will decide what is remembered, and what is forgotten. The storm has ended. But the echo lasts forever. The storm is over, but the echoes linger. Fluorescent lights hum softly, a fragile rhythm, barely masking the tension still coiled in the room. Phase 8 is no longer about survival. It's about consequence. It's about what remains when the dust settles. Her phone buzzes again. The message is simple. History remembers everything. The aides shuffle papers, hesitant, aware that every microdecision now shapes legacy. Every email sent, every whisper repeated, every hesitation recorded, etched into perception. The manager speaks, measured, almost ceremonial. Everyone will be judged by what they did, not what they intended. The room has seen the truth. The world will remember the narrative we leave behind. Eyes scan the room. The strategist who panicked first bites his lip. The aide straightens, breath steady. The man at the center, once commanding, now watches quietly, aware that his story is being written by others. On the TV, the first reports appear. Internal campaign leaks reveal unprecedented chaos. Sources indicate miscommunication and strategic errors, though key staff showed resilience under pressure. The wording is subtle, carefully chosen. Micro-decisions from the team, how quickly they responded, what they chose to release, dictate perception. The paradox crystallizes. The faster chaos came, the harder it was to control. But the more deliberate their responses now, the more their legacy stabilizes. Every subtle choice is magnified. Who admits fault? Who acknowledges oversight? Who controls the narrative without overreacting? The aide realizes her every small move, the pause before sending an internal memo, the careful phrasing in a public statement, will define her forever. The manager's calm guidance becomes their shield. Perception is history's lens. Micro-decisions shape the story, even if the truth is messy. Even the man at the center, humbled, nods in reluctant respect. Faces reflect fatigue, tension, and insight. Some realize survival alone isn't enough. Some understand the subtle power of restraint. Some confront the weight of their earlier mistakes. Every whisper, every glance, every choice now shapes their personal narrative, what others will remember. The paradox of legacy remains. The actions that nearly destroyed them now define who they are remembered to be. Her phone vibrates again, final and sharp. The message reads: "Legacies are written in moments that no one else notices, except history." The room goes still. Every micro-decision, every response, every reaction, immortalized in perception, memory, and consequence. Phase 8 has begun its slow, irreversible weaving. And the question hangs. Who will be remembered as resilient, and who as a cautionary tale? The room is silent. Not tense, silent, as though the world itself is holding its breath. Phase 8 has matured. The dust has settled. The echoes of chaos now crystallize into memory, into history, into legacy. Her phone buzzes one last time. No countdown. No warning. Just a single, cold message. The story is written. Live with it. The aides look around, scanning faces. The strategist who panicked first sits rigid, jaw tight. The aide exhales slowly, feeling the weight of every decision she made, every pause, every glance, every calculated step. The manager, ever composed, leans back, eyes steady, absorbing the quiet, knowing that their guidance shaped more than outcomes, they shaped perception. Even the man at the center, once brimming with control, now feels the fragility of power. Momentum, he realizes, punishes hesitation, but memory immortalizes precision. Every subtle choice resonates. The pause before a sent message. The careful phrasing of a statement. The decision not to react. Each one now magnified, influencing how history will interpret their actions. The paradox is complete. The chaos that nearly consumed them has now become the framework for their legacy. Every flaw, every hesitation, every minor act of foresight is remembered. The TV flickers, showing headlines. Campaign staff navigate unprecedented internal leaks. Key figures demonstrate measured leadership amid chaos. The words are deliberate. Small acts of restraint, calm, and strategic micro-decisions now dominate the narrative. The orchestrator, once invisible, fades into the background. Their influence undeniable, but history favors those who responded wisely. The aide sits, hands folded. She feels the tension in her chest finally ease. Phase 8 has done its work, revealing character, exposing fragility, and immortalizing choices. The manager turns to the room. Control was never absolute. But perception lasts forever. What we did, how we responded, how we paused, how we acted, this is our story. Even the man at the center nods. Silent understanding. The storm is over, but its lessons remain. Her phone buzzes one final time, almost innocuously. The message reads: "Legacy is only the beginning. The next storm waits for those unprepared." The room exhales collectively, aware that history has judged them, but also aware that in this world, storms never truly end. And somewhere, beyond this quiet, the next wave waits. The room is quiet now, but the tension lingers like a ghost. Phase 8 is over, yet its ripples spread outward, invisible but undeniable. The storm has passed, leaving fragments, small, subtle, permanent. Her phone buzzes softly. No countdown, no threats, just the faint glow of messages left unread. She senses the weight of every decision still pressing against her, lingering in memory. The strategist, once flustered, now sits quietly, calculating the next moves. Even small missteps are remembered. Whispers from earlier chaos echo in subtle ways. A misread email shapes a colleague's perception. A glance too long creates distrust. A pause that once saved a moment now defines how history interprets action. The manager leans back, observing, calm. Every micro-decision, every small act of composure, now becomes a reference point for reputation. History may forgive mistakes, but memory preserves choices. On the media feeds. Internal turmoil exposed, but leadership and resilience emerge from chaos. Key staff praised for calm response under pressure. Micro-decisions, the unspoken, almost invisible actions, now dominate the narrative. The orchestrator, once hidden, is now part of the footnotes. The real story belongs to those who survived and acted deliberately. Even the man at the center notices, power was never absolute. Perception, carefully guided, deliberate, restrained, is what lasts. The aide exhales, finally allowing herself a deep breath. She understands now. Survival was never enough. Legacy is written in small acts, the micro-decisions, the calculated pauses, the restraint under scrutiny. The manager speaks quietly. Every storm leaves traces. What matters is how you navigate them, and how you are remembered. The metallic tang of tension still lingers in the air, subtle, almost imperceptible. Even calm carries a weight. Every choice made, every hesitation, every moment of clarity or error spreads outward. A misstep at a meeting affects a colleague's trust. A carefully timed correction alters public perception. A single microdecision prevents disaster, or unintentionally creates it. The paradox endures, the smaller the decision, the larger its impact on legacy. Her phone vibrates one last time. The message reads: Storms end, but lessons last. Choose wisely, future storms await. The room exhales. Silence is thick, yet full of unspoken understanding. The narrative is set, the legacy shaped, but the world moves forward, and with it, the next challenge quietly looms. Phase 8 may be complete. But the ripples are only beginning. The room has settled into a fragile calm. Phase 8 storm has passed, but the tension has left fingerprints on everyone. Micro-decisions, once invisible, now define relationships, alliances, and trust. The air still carries the faint metallic tang of confrontation, now softened by resolution but never gone. Her phone buzzes again. No countdown, no threats. Just subtle reminders of choices made and paths taken. The strategist who panicked early now leans toward the manager, eyes cautious but attentive. The aide observes silently, understanding that loyalty is now a currency. The man at the center, humbled, nods in subtle acknowledgement to those who acted deliberately. Micro-decisions, who spoke when, who stayed silent, who defended whom, have rewritten alliances. Former rivals now aligned, recognizing competence and restraint. Former allies, whose panic threatened the room, are quietly marginalized. Even a glance, a hesitant nod, a small gesture, carries weight. These ripples will define interactions for months to come. Outside the room, media narratives solidify. Crisis handled with precision by key staff. Leadership emerges resilient. The careful microdecisions made in the chaos now dominate the story. Small pauses, subtle interventions, calculated communications, now seen as brilliance rather than necessity. Legacy, once fragile, begins to crystallize. The orchestrator fades from focus, relegated to footnotes. Invisible hands are less remembered than visible, decisive action. Each character feels the weight differently. The aide recognizes that restraint under scrutiny shaped her reputation more than any bold move ever could. The strategist understands that panic leaves marks, microdecisions matter more than reactions. The man at the center realizes that power is fleeting, but perception is enduring. Microdecisions, what seem trivial, have become defining moments. Every pause, every glance, every word resonates through legacy and future interactions. The manager sums it up quietly. Momentum punishes hesitation, but memory punishes recklessness. Control may slip, chaos may roar, but your legacy is built in the quiet, deliberate moments. The paradox is clear: the smaller, subtler choices often carry the largest consequences. Even as calm returns, the lessons linger, etched in perception, alliances, and self-awareness. Her phone vibrates once more. The message reads: "The storm may have passed, but the tides are never still." The room exhales collectively, understanding. Phase 8 has ended, legacies are forming, alliances shifting, but the world outside is waiting. And the next wave of decisions, subtle or bold, will define what comes next. The room has returned to normal, but nothing feels the same. Phase 8 is over, yet its reverberations echo through every decision, every glance, every whispered conversation. The metallic tang of tension lingers faintly, a reminder that calm is temporary. Her phone buzzes again. No instructions. No countdowns. Just silent proof that choices have consequences. The aide notices subtle shifts. The strategist who panicked early now wields quiet influence, earned through restraint, not boldness. The manager, steady as ever, observes how alliances bend and flex like brittle branches in wind. Even the man at the center, humbled, tests new boundaries, aware that perception now limits power more than facts. Every microdecision from Phase 8, who spoke first, who stayed silent, who framed information, has restructured the hierarchy. Control is no longer overt, it is subtle, layered, almost invisible. Media narratives settle. Key staff navigated internal chaos with composure, revealing resilience and strategic foresight. The smallest choices, the timing of emails, the careful wording of statements, even a single pause, have become central to public perception. Microdecisions, once invisible, now define influence and legacy. Internally, trust and influence shift quietly. A glance, a nod, a remembered hesitation, all carry weight in shaping the new balance. The manager reflects aloud, voice calm but cutting through the quiet. Power is never static. Perception endures longer than control. Microdecisions, made under pressure, decide who is remembered, and who is forgotten. The paradox is unmistakable: those who acted decisively and deliberately, often invisibly, now hold influence. Those who panicked, even briefly, are quietly marginalized. The world remembers restraint more than impulsiveness. Even in this calm, tension simmers. Microdecisions continue to shape interactions. A delayed response causes friction. A word of caution is weighed against a risk of boldness. Trust must be recalibrated, alliances tested, reputations guarded. The room, now silent, is a field of potential power shifts. Phase 8 may have ended, but the consequences continue to unfold. Her phone buzzes again. The message reads: "Every ripple becomes a wave. Be ready." The calm is temporary. The echoes of Phase 8 have transformed into a quiet tension, one that will test alliances, reputations, and legacies in ways yet unseen. The room feels different now. Phase 8's storm has passed, but the quiet carries weight. Microdecisions from weeks ago now ripple outward, shaping interactions, trust, and reputations. The metallic tang of tension has faded, but subtle pressure remains, pressing against every choice, every word. Her phone buzzes softly. No countdown. No directive. Just reminders that consequences are never truly over. The strategist, once impulsive, now maneuvers carefully. Every glance, every phrase, every subtle nod is analyzed, both by colleagues and by memory. Even the aide feels the lingering weight of her choices. Every hesitation, every careful intervention, small as it seemed, now carries the gravity of history. Perception dominates. The public, the media, the internal team, all measure influence by subtle microdecisions. A single misstep, no matter how minor, can redefine credibility. The paradox is clear: restraint, not boldness, now commands respect. Tensions simmer quietly. The man at the center, aware that perception limits his power, tests boundaries subtly. Colleagues calculate every reaction, balancing loyalty and self-preservation. Microdecisions, previously trivial, now dictate alliances and fractures. A whispered comment, a delayed response, a careful omission, all become instruments of influence. The room is calm on the surface, but beneath, strategies and counter-strategies evolve. Media narratives reinforce subtle hierarchies. Key figures demonstrated composure and foresight amid unprecedented internal turbulence. The smallest actions, timing of emails, phrasing of statements, measured silences, now dominate legacy. Even the orchestrator's influence diminishes in the face of careful, deliberate action. Microdecisions, once invisible, now dictate power, trust, and remembrance. The manager observes quietly. Momentum punishes hesitation, but perception punishes recklessness. Those who act deliberately, often unseen, shape the narrative, and thus the future. The paradox remains: small acts, almost invisible at the moment, now carry the weight of history. The room understands, phase 8 is over, but its consequences will echo indefinitely. Her phone buzzes again. The message reads: "History watches." And the next storm waits for the unprepared. The room exhales. Silence reigns, yet tension persists. Legacies have been shaped, reputations tested, but the next wave of subtle battles, hidden manipulations, and perception challenges is already forming. The room is quiet, but nothing is as it seems. Phase 8 has passed, yet the aftershocks ripple through alliances, perceptions, and reputations. Every microdecision, once trivial, now carries invisible weight. The metallic tang of tension has faded, replaced by the faint, persistent scent of strategy. Her phone buzzes. No countdown. No urgent alert. Just a quiet reminder: the long game is underway. The strategist who panicked early now moves subtly, calculating influence in almost imperceptible ways. Every word, pause, and gesture becomes a chess piece. Even the aide notices, alliances are shifting beneath the surface. A glance exchanged, a carefully timed email, a moment of silence, all ripple outward with unexpected consequences. The man at the center, humbled but still ambitious, tests boundaries cautiously. Power is no longer about overt control, it's about perception, microdecisions, and influence over memory. Reports reinforce the subtle hierarchy. Key figures show remarkable composure and foresight during internal turbulence. Leadership emerges through calm, deliberate action. What once seemed invisible, emails paused, whispers noted, microdecisions made in quiet, now dominate public and internal perception. Even the orchestrator's role is now diminished, a ghostly footnote in a story shaped by deliberate, precise actions. Every subtle choice now shapes reputation. Who speaks first, who waits? Who offers help, who holds back? Every glance, every nod, every carefully phrased statement compounds in influence. The paradox persists. The smaller the decision, the greater its long-term impact. The quiet, deliberate actions, the unseen moves, now dictate power, trust, and narrative. The manager finally speaks, voice calm, deliberate. History rewards the patient. Microdecisions shape perception, and perception shapes the world. The storms may end, but those who act deliberately write the story that endures. Even the aide realizes, every subtle intervention, every measured pause, will define her legacy far longer than any overt action could. Her phone vibrates once more. The message reads: "The long game is only beginning. Micro-decisions will decide who endures." The room exhales collectively. Phase 8 is behind them, but the long-term manipulations, strategic calculations, and reputational battles are just beginning. Every subtle move now carries the potential to shape history itself. The room is still, but tension simmers beneath the surface. Phase 8 is complete, yet its echoes persist, shaping decisions, alliances, and reputations. The metallic tang of anticipation is faint, almost imperceptible, but everyone feels it, pressing against their chest, a reminder that the long game is unforgiving. Her phone buzzes again. No countdown. No threat. Just a message, cold and deliberate. Everything aligns now. The long game meets its consequence. The strategist who once panicked moves carefully, now testing limits. The aide observes silently, weighing every micro-decision, who hesitates, who asserts, who adapts. Even the man at the center calculates, understanding that perception, alliances, and reputation intersect in complex ways. A small misstep, an email delayed, a glance misread, a hesitation too long, can shift influence in an instant. The paradox remains, subtlety now wields more power than overt action. The room is a network of invisible threads. Alliances form and fracture, reputations rise and fall, and the faintest whisper can ripple outward. Media reinforces the new hierarchy. Leaders emerge not through chaos, but through measured responses and deliberate microdecisions. Every action, however minor, resonates through the network of perception. Even the orchestrator's hand is now almost irrelevant, the story is controlled by those who act deliberately in silence. The aide senses it acutely. Her every move, every pause, every carefully phrased sentence, every strategic silence, has permanent impact. The strategist calculates constantly, understanding that one misjudged microdecision could undo weeks of careful maneuvering. The manager observes, confident in their own deliberate approach, knowing patience and precision outweigh panic. History is watching. Every decision matters. Every subtle action compounds. The manager finally addresses the room. Legacy is shaped in the quiet moments. The long game punishes recklessness and rewards restraint. Microdecisions define outcomes more than any grand gesture ever could. The paradox is clear, small, almost invisible choices now dictate the fate of reputations, alliances, and memory. Phase 8 is over, but its consequences are eternal. Her phone vibrates one final time in this chapter. The message reads: "Endings are illusions. The long game has only just begun." The room exhales collectively, but no one relaxes. Legacy, perception, and strategy now collide in a tense, invisible battle. Every subtle action, every careful decision, will ripple through history, and no one is truly safe from the consequences.